Welcome all viewers. From my side, myself Namaskar Mandal from Management System Consultancy. Today we will discuss on the topic of the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. So let's start the session. Yes. So इससे background क्या है कि जो हमका background to develop the DPDP rule act जो है उसका बारे में दिखाया गया है यहाँ पे. You can directly access 6 तक कहाँ से डेवलप हो पाया है, that is over there. Justice S.K. Pattaswamy, retired person versus Union India in 2017. Aadhaar card, right to privacy is fundamental rights. जो पहले अपलिफ्ट हुआ था उसका बाद कौन सा कमिटी, Sri Krishna Committee report on privacy and gave recommendation regarding personal data protection bill. Then personal data protection bill raised हुआ था कब 2018, 19, 21 में. Finally digital personal data protection bill 2022, digital personal protection bill act जो हुआ 2023. The DPDP Act has been ascended by the president on 11th August 2023. Finally, this is the bit about the background. एक्चुअली आप लोगों को और भी पता होगा जैसे GDPR जैसे जो एप्लीकेबिलिटी सेम टाइप ऑफ रूल्स दैट इज एप्लीकेबल फॉर यूरोपियन टेरिटरी, सेम वे हम लोग का इंडिया तरफ से DPDP एक्ट का हिसाब से ये रिलीज हुआ है. ओके, सो इट्स अबाउट द बैकग्राउंड ऑफ द DPDP एक्ट. नाउ पर्पस of this act क्या है? This act provides the processing of digital personal data in a manner that recognizes both the right to individual to protect their personal data and the need to process such personal data for lawful purpose. यहाँ पे भी सेम थिंग आपको रिमाइंडर रखना होगा कि दिस इज नॉट any type of certification or reporting type of thing. DPDP Act on India government side act जो हम लोग को फॉलो करना पड़ता है, जो कॉन्सेंट देना पड़ता है हमको. लाइक अदर there are several types of acts are there. तो हम लोग being a civilian of Indian हम लोग को ये चीज कॉन्सेंट देना होगा, हम लोग को फॉलो करना है. ओके, ओवरव्यू क्या है DPDP Act? It has total 9 chapters and 44 sections. Various provisions of the Act shall come in a force from different dates may be notified. India did not give any specific law for data protection through Information Technology Act along with SPDI, Responsible Security Practices and Procedures for Sensitive Personal Data or Information Rules 2011, Regulation Personal Data to some extent. This is the overview of the DPDP Act. Now it's a comparison. जैसे हम लोग बोल रहे थे यूरोपियन के लिए इन यूरोप GDPR एप्लीकेबल है, इन चाइना PIPI जो एप्लीकेबल है, इंडिया में DPDP हम लोग को एप्लीकेबल हुआ है जस्ट लास्ट ईयर. So that is the thing. Now it's a for your इतना एलेबोरेट में हम लोग यहाँ पे इतना बोल नहीं पाएंगे, लेकिन फॉर योर इंफॉर्मेशन आप पॉज करके भी इसको देख सकते हो. इट्स अ टोटल फ्रेम आउट ऑफ द वर्ड व्यू ऑफ द टोटल स्टैंडर्ड जैसे 9 चैप्टर के हिसाब से एंड टोटल रिक्वायरमेंट का हिसाब से. ओके, दैट इज द थिंग. नाउ द मूविंग फॉरवर्ड टू नेक्स्ट लेवल, डेटा प्रिंसिपल, डेटा forgery and data processor. What is this? The individual to whom the personal data relates, this is under data principle, data forgery. उसमें आता है कि any person who alone or in conjunction with the other person determines the purpose of means of processing of personal data, that is under the forgery cases. And then data processor, any person who process data, personal data on behalf of a data forgery cases, this comes under the data processor. Yes. Now in short, we will discuss upon the data. a presentation of information, facts, concepts, opinions, or instruction in a manner suitable for communication, representation, or processing by human being or by automated means. This is the data. Personal data means any data about an individual who is identified or in a relation to such data. इसका एक मैट्रिक्स दिखाया गया है, कहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो पर्सनल डेटा का मैट्रिक्स. Okay, now some examples from personal data. Okay, some example person क्या है, email ID, home address, date of birth, photos, phone number, bank account number, credit card number, other numbers. So those are the examples of some personal data for your information. Okay, now the applicability of this act, कहाँ पे applicability है? Okay ना? So processing in India, yes, then digital personal data may applicable है, processing outside India may applicable for offering of goods and services to data principal in India. Those are the main areas जहाँ पे ये applicability है. Okay. The central government can restrict the transfer of personal data by data fiduciary to countries blacklisted by notification. However, if sectoral specific law for higher degree of protection restriction transfer, then it will prevail over DPDP Act. Yeah, now data processing. Processing in relation to personal data means wholly or partially automated operation or set of operation performed on digital personal data, and it includes operations such as collection, recording, organization, structuring, storage, adoption, retrieval, use, alignment or combination, indexing, sharing, disclosure by transmission, dissemination, or otherwise making available, restriction, ensure destruction. The data processing system. Now the processing of data of children and person of disability, उसका लेके भी गाइडलाइन दिया हुआ है. You can pause it and give the information from here also. Special cases में क्या क्या है. Now grounds of processing. A person data can only be processed for lawful purpose, consent from data principles, or certain legislative uses deemed consent. Okay. Now, notice and consent. Data fiduciary case में क्या है? Provides notice in such a manner and as may be prescribed, give consent में data principles. If just for a guideline. Now the thing is that notice and consent. Yes, notice consent should be free, specific, informed, unconditional, unambiguous, with clear affirmation action, signify an agreement to process data. Notice complying a request of consent must include क्या क्या है? Those are been there. 5 examples दिया गया है. Personal data, the purpose of which data is processed, the manner in which she can excuse her rights to withdraw her consent, ऐसा करके there are 5 numbers of the examples of दिखाया गया है. Okay. Consent का process कैसे लेना पड़ता है? It's a simple एक formatted way में दिखाया गया है for your example purpose. Consideration for consent. What does this imply? Clear affirmation and ambiguousness क्या है? That is be there. Informed, specific, freely given. क्या क्या? All samples have been here. आप pause करके इसको elaborately देख सकते हो. Now, withdrawal of consent. Withdrawal of consent कैसे होता है? 3 steps. Data principal has right to withdraw their consent at any time. S of which withdrawal should be similar to S with such consent was given. Upon withdrawal, data processor needs to erase processing of data within a reasonable time. Consent manager एक होना चाहिए जो a single point of contact, जो consent manager जो इसको approval देगा, जो basically who is accountable to data principal. Okay. Processing data for certain legitimating uses उसका दिया हुआ है. There are 4 processing data certain legitimate uses क्या है. Voluntary provided personal data by data principal for purpose of employment, those related to safeguarding the employer for loss of liability, the matter concerning public interest, medical emergency, judicial, by the state and any its instrumentalities for functional under any law for time being enforced in India. Processing data certain limited uses, जो जहाँ पे uses करते हैं हम लोग patient. Now, some examples of some examples of significant data forwarding. क्या है कि क्या केस हो सकता है? The volume of sensitive personal data processed right to the rights of data principal, potential impact on the sovereignty and integrity of India, leads to electoral democracy, security of the state, public order, those are the things. Now, roles of significant data forwarding. Data forwarding में क्या-क्या roles हैं? Especially organization के लिए applicable है कि appoint a data protection officer, appoint an independent data auditor. Now, periodic audit and periodic data protection impact assessment करना भी है organization को. Especially this is applicable for fraud case में organization में applicable होगा. Obligation of data fraud case में, वो those are the things जो यहाँ पे दिखाया गया है कोई इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए. ओके. Now, implementation of exemptions from obligations क्या-क्या हो सकता है? Some obligations of data forwarding not applicable where the processing of personal data is क्या-क्या है? For enforcing any legal right or claim, the processing of any court or tribunal, ठीक है? Those are the things जो यहाँ पे exemptions from obligation से ले सकते हैं आप. Rights of data principal, those are the things. Right to data principal में, right to access information regarding processing of personal data, right to correction, completion, upgrading, ensure, जो है right of grievance, residual, right to nominee or even death, incapacity of data principals. Duties of data principals, those are the duties of data principals. Complying with the provisions of all applicable laws to ensure not to impersonate or another person while providing our personal data or other things that is notified here. In any case, last में देखिए, in any case, non-compliance of duties by personal fine may exempted to INR 10,000 तक हो सकता है. Personal, then data basis breach क्या है? And any unauthorized processing of personal data, accidental disclosure, acquisition, sharing, use, alternation, distraction, or loss of access to personal data that comprises the confidential integrity, availability of personal data. This is the personal data breach. Now, the retention of personal data, उसका guideline दिया हुआ है. Data fraudulently must erase of and causing data processor to erase the personal data upon receipt of withdrawal request or as soon as reasonable to assume that specified purpose is no longer served. Data Protection Board set up to enforce the law and award penalties by central government. Now, a penalty किस level तक हो सकता है? Data is categorized over here. Board determines monetary penalties depends on nature, gravity, duration, and breach of repetitive nature, sensitive by type of data, gain or loss incurred. Those are the things आप देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है. Okay, so that's all from my side on DPDP Act. आप लोग मेरा वेबसाइट फॉलो कर सकते हो for more details. Our information already been shared, email IDs, phone numbers for consultation purpose. We will elaborately consulted